All right, we are live on YouTube. I'm just waiting on the video to connect so that we can grab the link and place it in our community so that those that are not in studio, like Kimberly and Teray and Dr. Toya and Debbie and Dr. Tachi and Dr. LaFera and Dewana, who is in studio now, those from our community that are not in studio can grab the link and jump in the comments while we are live. Uh, so I just need, here we go. I just need that link. Come on, YouTube. There we go. Thank you for the link, YouTube. We're going to throw that in our community and post it. Speaking of community, if you are a solopreneur or entrepreneur who is struggling to get to your first six figures in business, you should be in our community. Go to shaycannon.info/group. It's free. However, we have three pillars of value that we value. The number one thing is we actually build community. We commune. In fact, this week we are having our community movie club night on Thursday night. The second thing we do is we collaborate. We come together to make our businesses better and to make money together. The third thing is we have conversations that are transformational for your business growth, quite like this morning show. So you need to join us. It is free, shaycannon.info/group. All righty. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Unlock Your First Six Figures morning show. I am your host, Shay Cannon. It all starts with the blog. And this week's blog is at shaycannon.com/success. Because what we're talking about this week is consistency versus strategy, the secret to business success. Okay. Now, what I need you to know about consistency and strategy is you can be consistent, but without a strategy, you're kind of hustling backwards, right? And you can do strategy, but if you're not consistent with it, you're not going to get results. All right. So you need both of them together. Surprise, surprise, right? This week, what I'm doing is I'm being transparent and I'm sharing with you times where I was consistent, but the strategy was missing and therefore I didn't get the result that I wanted. And then what the problem was and how I solved it. What strategy did I use to solve that problem? Okay. So the first case study was yesterday. It was about clarity. A lot of people ask me about how do you go from one type of offer to another type of offer that is totally different, right? Where I went from being known as a fractional chief operating officer to being known as a business coach. And so catch yesterday's replay on how I transitioned that one offer to the next offer. Okay. So part one is clarity. So go to that replay for that. Today, we're going to talk about community, okay? I just gave you an invite to my community, shaycannon.info/group. It is free. Now, let me tell you about the consistency that I've had with this community. You may or may not know, but I've had this community since 2016. 2016. And it is now 2024, right? So I've had this community for that long. And I've always been pretty consistent about giving value to the group, right? Week after week for years on end, I gave value and members were even active, right? So that was the consistency that I had. But the problem that I had was creating content in the group was not enough to grow the group, okay? And I was so busy trying to create content, I was not doing anything to grow the group, right? So it took a while to get the numbers of the group above 100, right? And that's where it stayed for several years. And I hovered around about 200 members for years after that, okay? So this is the strategy that I did. And this strategy is recent. So I've had this group since 2016, but the bulk of the growth has happened in the last, we're going to say 6 months, 7 months. Okay. So the strategy that I use is in September of 2023, I started publishing reels about this morning show, which used to be exclusive to our group. And I started publishing those reels outside of the group to tell people all about the value and the content that we had in the group, right? And based on the subject matters, kind of like the one we're discussing today, people were like, yeah, I need to hear more about that. Let me join that group, okay? So that was in September of 2023. So we got up to around 250 new members after I started doing that in September. In November of 2023, I started encouraging the highly engaged members, which are usually the members that show up on the morning show, right? Like who's in studio now? Kimberly, Teray, Dr. Toya, Debbie, Dr. Tachi, Dr. LaFera, Dewana, Shawana, okay, the Wanas, all right? So those people are our highly engaged population of this group. Right. So I started telling them, okay, I know you got a business bestie, invite your business bestie in to get all the value that you get, because they love our group. They rave about the value that they get in this group all the time. Some have even said they get more value in this free group than they've gotten in groups that they've paid to be a part of and learn from. Okay. So I started encouraging people to invite their business besties. One of the famous business besties would be Kimberly inviting Tracy, and Tracy immediately jumping in and becoming one of the most engaged people. We are missing Tracy this morning. However, good morning, Tracy. So that's a great example, right? Then what happened was this got our group up to about 350, right? Now, keep in mind, they're inviting their business besties, but I'm also dipping into my network and inviting more people too, right? So we got it up to about 350. Well, in December of 2023, I was like, okay, if y'all did that just to share with your business besties, what would you guys do if you had an incentive, right? So in December 2023, I held a month-long contest where members who invited the most members that actually joined the group, because Facebook threw a hurdle in there where not only did you invite members but that member had to accept the invitation, right? So we had that contest, and the winner would win $100. And the winner is actually on this broadcast on camera. Teray won that $100. I immediately cash apped her prize. She got that $100 for inviting the most people to our group that actually joined the group. So that contest in conjunction with my efforts, because I was also continually to invite new members, we jumped up to 500 members in this group. Okay. So that was the consistency, was content. The problem is that the group wasn't growing, and the strategy was being more intentional about recruiting people, right? Now, the crazy part is I haven't been that intentional since the beginning of this year. So in 6 months, we've only grown by 50 members. So that goes to tell you that I have to go back to a strategy. If I want to go beyond 550 members, I have to go back to the strategy of letting people know outside of this group what the value is inside the group. Now, on this morning show, I tell y'all every morning, but I need to do more than that. But those are the strategies, okay? So you guys can take my case study of community growth and me being intentional and having a strategy and marrying that with consistency, right? But I'm going to give you some general strategies for building your community, okay? What you need to be consistent with and what strategy you need to use. I have, I think, 7 of these this morning. So get ready for the value. I'm going to give you the strategy. I'm going to give you the thing to do. I'm going to give you the consistency you should have and the strategy to perform, okay? So first, consistent content creation, right? We need to be consistent with posting. Now, consistent does not give you what that schedule of consistency is. You get to decide that. In fact, when people ask me how often should they post, I ask them how often can they be consistent with, right? Because it don't matter if you post every day, if you only posted every day for 2 weeks and then didn't post anymore. All right. So if you post once a week, then post once a week. If you post 3 times a week, then post 3 times a week. Okay. If you post once a month, like a newsletter, you're not going to get much traction, but at least they know when to expect you. Okay. So consistency with creating valuable content and then maintain that schedule. That's the consistency. The strategy is going to be analyzing the types of content that generate the most engagement. So you actually got to pay attention. We cannot afford to be automatons and just be doing stuff and never check to see if what we're doing is working. Okay. So your strategy, your consistency is routine content creation. Your strategy is making sure that that content is generating engagement and which content is generating the most engagement. Now, the strategy beyond that is you go back and you see what is the most engaged topics, and you create more information on those topics. You create more content on those topics. If you do it right, it makes it easier for you to do it. You're being consistent enough to analyze, right? And when you analyze, you're getting information on how to be more engaging. All right. Now, next, we're going to leverage multimedia. Okay. We're going to be consistent and kind of changing up the forms of media that we use. And when I say media, I'm not even just talking about the social media platforms that you use. I'm talking about the actual media that you use on the social media platforms. Okay. Media is your various formats of content. Is it going to be a video? Is it just going to be a words? Is it going to be a poll? Are you going to go live? Is it going to be just a photo? Is it going to be a graphic? Those are the different types of media. And when you switch it up, right, it gains more eyes, because it doesn't look like the same thing every time, right? So let me give you the hierarchy of media. Okay, this is a part of your strategy. Let me give you the hierarchy of media. So text by itself is like the lowest form of that gets the lowest amount of engagement, I should say. Okay, text, we're gonna say text with photo, or photo gets the next highest. Okay, the next highest from photo is going to be audio. Okay, the next highest from audio is going to be video, and the only thing higher than video is going to be live video interaction, like live streams, or even higher than that would be, it's not media, but would be live in-person event type things. But we're talking about media, so live streaming is going to be the top, which is like this show. This is the most engaged form of media I have in my entire business, is this live morning show. All right. So that's a part of your strategy. Another thing about your strategy is you need to figure out what is the most high impact, highly engaged format of media that you're using currently, and use the hierarchy I gave you to add more engagement. All right. That is your strategy. Leverage multimedia. Number 3, you need to encourage member engagement. Encourage member engagement. So the consistency is you need to foster an environment where members feel comfortable engaging. I say it all the time. I am a genius. There's no doubt. There's no argument. However, I'm not the only genius in the room. And I am very grateful for creating a culture where the members of this community also trust me enough to share their genius, right? We don't just have conversations where it's like there's a dictator and a leader and nobody else gets to give their opinion. That's not what I fostered as a culture. A lot of you have started communities, and you've noticed that nobody says anything until you say something. Nobody just, volunteers to give an opinion. That says a lot about the culture you've created in your group. You have to be vigilant about making people feel it is okay to actually start engagement or add their opinions to the engagement. That's not something that just happens. Anytime you start a community and you are an expert, people join that community to partake of your expertise, right? But unless you empower them to also impart their expertise, they will not. So keep that in mind. So that's a part of a strategy, but also we want to keep our members highly engaged. We want to have interactive things go on, right? This live stream morning show is just one. We have polls in our community. Let me tell you how our community members feel like they own the community also. They don't feel like I own the community and they have no ownership. So we vote about a lot of stuff. We currently have 2 votes going on right now, right? One is, what is movie club night? What is going to be the movie for movie club night on Thursday? Today is the deadline to vote for that. Okay. Another vote going on right now. The deadline is Friday, is the vote of what is the morning show rewind going to be for next week, because I'm out on vacation. And so what we do is we live stream a rewind, but it's their vote from the 4 top highly engaged topics. So they feel empowered. These people around me right now in the studio, and the people who are in our comments. Let me check over there because I haven't said good morning to him. Look, Keith is back. Good morning, Keith. Glow is over there. Good morning. Dania is over there. Good morning. So I love it, right? So highly engaged members. Number 4, expand visibility beyond the group, okay? We can give all the best value inside a group. I did for years. But if nobody outside the group knows about that value, your group doesn't grow. Nobody knows what you're doing in the group unless they're in the group. So you have to tell people outside of the group all the good things you are doing, okay? And you have to do it on a regular basis. This is where I am failing right now, that I'm going to pick the mantle back up, right? So your consistency should be sharing snippets of value given in the group, outside of the group, and inviting people to come take part in that value by joining your group, okay? Now, the strategy would be, using things like video.ai, vidyo.ai, right? To actually do your snippets. You know what I'm saying? So you're not having to go through any videos, long form videos, and pull your own clips out. Do an AI tool like Video AI. A lot of people like Opus Clips. I do not. I prefer video.ai. But that's a strategy to make it easier for me to share all the video content, right? Another strategy that I have is just simple posts, just talking about it outside. What I'm about to do is change up what my content schedule looks like to add in that I am always recruiting for our group to make it bigger, right? With the culture that we have created in this group, with other experts with expertise sharing their expertise, right? Because I often call upon, our raving fans in this group to share their expertise because we know what it is, because we show up all the time. Well, adding more people to our group just adds more value when they have more expertise, all right? Next thing, create referral incentives, right? So maybe I need to have a contest once a quarter. Maybe we need to give out another $100. Let's see what's going on with another contest, right? If you don't want to do money, it doesn't have to just be money. You could do a contest where you can use your expertise to better somebody's business. That's just my community, right? I'm sure if I was to give out one of them $5,500 strategy sessions, yeah, I think if I held that up as a prize, I think we get people that would like, yeah, I want that. They're always talking about that. Teray and Heather are always talking about how they got one at the retreat. I want one, right? Debbie is talking about how much better her business is because she got one. Shawana is talking about, hey, not only do I have a roadmap from the retreat, but I'm about to have a pick my brain session to kind of update that and talk about some obstacles I've been having. So yes, there are things that are valuable that you have in your expertise that you can give out as an incentive. It doesn't always have to be money, all right? So that is the strategy. Next one, network and collaborate. Network and collaborate. Another thing that I'm doing while I'm on vacation next week is I'm going to sit down and look at all of my organic traffic. Right? I've been digging in. Y'all saw me share with you Microsoft's Clarity yesterday to check on this YouTube stuff. It is growing. It is working. Now I need to be more intentional and apply strategy, right? So what we want to do is we want to see on each organic traffic channel, where should I be directing that traffic to, right? Where should I be directing that traffic to? What are the types of people that I want to come directly to the group? And the people in the group, where do I want to drive your traffic to? Right? So currently, you guys are the ones I actually do the workshops for. I actually don't do the workshops for people outside of this group. I don't even set up my sales page to be for cold traffic. When I set up those sales pages, it's for y'all. It's not for anybody else. So you have to be intentional about networking and collaborating, okay? And where do you want them to go? Because if they don't know you, they're probably not going to buy from you right away. So where do you want them to go so that you can nurture them and they can buy from you later, okay? So with this group, I love inviting people to the group. But when you're in this group, where else do I want you to go? How else do I want us to collaborate, right? All right. Last but not least, host engaging events, okay? You want to be consistent about letting your people gather. That is the great thing about a community like this versus my email list, right? In my email list, which I need to email very soon, but I'm talking to them. They get to talk back to me because I'm often saying reply back and tell me whatever. They're talking back to me, but they can't talk to each other in an email list. So they're my community, but they can't be a community for each other in my email list. So I'm often inviting them to come out of their email list and into this community where we actually commune. And that is where events are important, right? So us having our movie night, us having this morning show, and us having other things that I'm going to think about to throw in here for the second half of the year, they are important. Okay, so you need to organize regular events. Okay, and the strategy is promote these events both inside the community and outside of the community. Okay, so that's a reminder that we have this amazing book club night where we watch movies, pull out the business nuggets. I need to be telling people outside of the group that that's something great that we do. That's very innovative. Not everybody is doing that, and we have fun doing it. Let me tell you. Okay, but it also makes us and our businesses better. So that is great value. All right, let's go through here without all the extra. Consistent content creation, leverage multimedia, encourage member engagement, expand visibility beyond your group, create referral incentives, network and collaborate, host engaging events. Okay, ladies in studio and our members over here in the YouTube comments, this is the question for you. Which of these things are you having the most trouble with when it comes to your community? Okay, I'm gonna go through that list again because you know, y'all wait till I call your name and be like, what is the list? Here's the last time I'm gonna give it to you. These are the things you need to be consistent and strategize. Consistent content creation, leverage multimedia, encourage member engagement, expand visibility beyond the group, create referral incentives, network and collaborate. Last but not least, host engaging events. This list is going beyond the blog post, so this will be in the show notes, currently only available in our group. Okay, so that's another strategy, right? Make things exclusive to only your group, even though this is about to be public. Probably by the time I come back off of vacation, we're going to create a lead magnet out of the show notes. But let's start with Shawana Kennedy. So she's fresh with the list. Which one of these do you think you need the most help with when it comes to your community? Shawana.
Good morning. Why did I know you were going to call me first?
Because I always start at the bottom and come up to the people who are actually on camera.
Okay. So for me, I believe possibly creating some type of incentive, and of course, amp up the encouraging them to engage. They do okay, you know, my main ones because of what I've done to create the once a month spotlight, right? So that's got people going, but that incentive may be another way for me to, kick it up a notch.
I like that. I like that. Yes. And learn from me, right? Because, you know, we had that contest in December. We announced the winner in January, and that group has only gained 50 more members since then, right? So it gained 150 based on the contest. And then it's only organically by itself without anybody talking about it or inviting anybody for real, only gained 50 more, right? So we need to be consistent with that incentive every now and then. Okay, I'm thinking quarterly for me. All right, let's go to Dewana. Dewana, come out of that plank and let us know, when it comes to building community, which one of these strategies we talked about today is one you may need help with.
Good morning, everybody. The main thing for me is always content creation and really just network engagement. Well, really kind of all of them, but when you got down to the whole end of the list, I was like, no, it's really content creation for me.
Yeah.
That
Well,
boom, period.
With the introduction of ChatGPT, that shouldn't be a problem anymore.
Yeah.
So you just put your thoughts out there, let ChatGPT help you to strategize your thoughts, and you put that content out there. So between ChatGPT giving you the words and DALL-E inside of ChatGPT possibly giving you some graphics. If you don't like the AI graphics, you got Canva. So, you know, we have more help now creating content than people have ever before. There are no gatekeepers to content anymore. Right. I can't
really,
wait
it's
to
just a matter of doing it.
You know, I can't wait till Sora comes out. That is ChatGPT's text to video that looks cinematic. Baby, y'all gonna be so sick of my little mini movies. Let me tell you, I'm gonna be like Tubi. Y'all gonna be sick of me. Okay. So yes, it is easier now to create content than it ever has before. thank you for that, Dewana. Kimberly has actually put in the studio comments that that's her Achilles heel too, and she just needs to be consistent. All right, Dr. LaFera, what about you?
I will say that creating engaging events for me, because I can create content in the group now. And I can be pretty consistent because I'm going to start scheduling more.
Okay.
Because I'm just studying all these different tools and how to get them to work best with the scheduling. But for me, it's engaging events. So yeah, so that's what I'm consistently thinking about. Like, okay, so because I've done it before to grow the group, but now it's a little bit, it's different. So yeah, that's it for me.
Love it. Love it. And I enjoy your content. That the one I saw yesterday of you with your doctor headshot, and then it moved over to you dancing. I was like, that is so good. Oh my gosh, that is great content. So yes, keep up the good work with the content. Love it. Love it.
Thank you.
Why is you putting text? Teray, you don't want to come out the mic?
Oh,
surprised.
So
what
it was
you talk about, Teray?
You were talking about how
ago.
I was talking about GPT. I was just putting a side comment about how great it is and how you could pretty much use it for anything.
Love it.
About
love it.
how, yeah. Did you read it or you want me to just say it?
I want you to say it.
Yeah. So Hassan needed a recommendation for an internship about 2 months ago, and his supervisor at work was getting taken forever. So I was like, you want me to just write it and have you sign it? She was like, yeah, I don't really know how to write it. I put some information in ChatGPT. It spit out, was perfect. Child, she signed it and I went ahead and sent it to the internship. I love it. Because I ain't writing it and she wasn't writing it.
But let me tell you how anytime you ask somebody for a recommendation, I would go ahead and ask them, do you need me to write it so you can just sign it? You can proof it or review it and sign it. Most people who you ask for a recommendation, they don't mind. They don't mind giving you the recommendation, but to sit down and put their thought together in a recommendation letter form is harder. So they keep putting it off. They keep putting it off, right? So if you just volunteer to do it for them and they review and sign it, you'll get your recommendation way faster. So yes, that's a great one, Teray. Love it, love it. All right, let's go to Dr. Tachi. Dr. Tachi, which of these community strategies do you feel like you need the most help with?
Not that I don't have like a group in terms of a community like that, but I'm thinking incentives.
Incentives, yeah. Incentives are great. And I will tell you, Dr. Tachi, because you show up so regularly, right? Let's put the network aside, right? Because you can easily create a community for your network, and anybody watching the network, no matter who the creator is, you can create a group for the network, right? Let's talk about Media Scope that you've been doing for a long time before you even got the network. Right now, you actually have a place because you are so consistent with Media Scope. You have a place where people commune. It's just not a traditional place. So kind of like Club Quarantine that you love so much, y'all commune in the comments. Y'all talk to each other. Y'all have created friendships. The same thing happens with your Media Scope, right? We start to see the same people show up. We get to know each other's personality from the comments that we make. We start talking to each other. So it's only half a step to put them in a whole group somewhere else where they can meet doing live Media Scopes, or where you can now have other types of events and other type of nurturing based on Media Scope. So you actually do have one. It's just limited because it's in the comments of your live shows. And what we know is once that show isn't live anymore, it trickles off, from that engagement. So you have to go live again. But you can easily transfer that to a traditional community online very easily. So you do have a community. It's just not the traditional one that we're talking about. So yes, incentives to get them over there would definitely get that thing up and popping. So yes, thank you, Dr. Tachi. Debbie, which of these strategies for community do you have the most problem with?
I also don't have a community in the traditional sense. So I need people to engage. I'd like people to engage more with my posts, and that's all I do it really. I post. So yeah, engagement.
Okay. So, I guess the first question is, have you created a space for them that is a community space other than your comments?
No, like
Yeah, so
no, I
you
have not.
probably have to start there and then get the people that comment to transfer into that space and then get about the business of growing that space. So yeah. So for that one, it would be start your community and then start what is the value of the content going to be, right? It is not, people are very finicky about joining groups now. You know, we're out of that, you know, we're out of just being happy to be invited to stuff and just being into stuff. Now we look at it as an invasion of our time, these groups. We don't just join groups anymore. So the first step is going to be, what is going to be the value and when are you going to start putting the value in there? The value should come before the invite. Okay, so if you're starting a group, start putting value in there so that as soon as you invite somebody, they can start getting value. I don't know if you guys have looked at my welcome post and my welcome you know, stuff that goes out, but it tells people that's joining that they can immediately start getting value. They can go to the past shows, they can go to the files, they can go to this place and that place to start immediately getting value, right? People love to join something that's already valuable. People do not want to join something that you rely on them to help make it valuable. They don't want to be a part of it. They want it to already be valuable before they get there. So keep that in mind for me, Debbie.
Okay.
Cool beans. All right, Dr. Toya, which of these community building strategies and things you need to be consistent with is the hardest for you?
Well, consistency is the hardest. That's a strategy. I don't know if I teeter about building the community part, right? When I'm doing it, the people are there, they're engaged, but then I question, is that something that I want to do? But as far as the things that you gave out today, I think offering the incentive would be a really, really good one. For me and my community, I think they would do it, follow through, and I could grow pretty easily that way.
Okay, cool beans. Well, let me give you an incentive to actually grow your community so that you don't teeter anymore. If we go by the lead funnel, which I do and which I taught in the organic marketing workshop, shakehannon.com/organic, if you want the replay of that workshop. It was revolutionary in understanding that when you're always trying to get sales from cold traffic, you're always working against the grain, right? But when you build a community, you're building a pool of warm and hot people to sell to because they already know the value that you bring. They already like, know, and trust you, right? So without a community, you're making your sales harder than they have to be because now you have to start over with like, know, and trust all the time, right? So think about what I said. Like most of the things I build for sale is for the community first. What I think of to sell is for y'all first. Right? So when you don't have that community as a business owner, you're doing your business a disservice because you don't have this pool of already warm and hot people to sell to. Also, you have cold people coming into a warm atmosphere. Guess what happens to them? They thaw out quicker. So those things make having a community even more valuable for us that are business owners. Does that make sense, Dr. Toya?
Yes, it does.
Cool beans. So hopefully that was a little incentive enough for you to pay attention to your community. I know look, me and Dr. Toya are the same. We like one more thing on the list. Dang it. But yes, it's worth it. It's worth it. Before I go to Ray, who's been waiting patiently, let's check out these comments. Glow said, can I ask my group, her community, what they don't like about conversations with Glow? And the answer is yes. Right? You should ask your community all the time what they like and what they dislike because you want to give them more of what they like and less of what they dislike, right? All the time. I'm always pivoting stuff based on what y'all tell me, right? Heck, our workshop has been postponed again because y'all like, that's 4th of July week, right? I mean, I don't want to think about affiliates, right? So now I've had to change the date of the affiliate program that's going to be workshop plus challenge experience, because I was going to try to get it in this week and then have a day that we do like all of the challenge things in one day. And y'all was like, yeah, no. Yeah, that doesn't work for me. I like the old way, and you need to wait till after the holiday. Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? So listen to your people. So you should always be asking them what they like, what they don't like, what value they're getting, right? I'm about to do an overhaul of the productivity membership because there's a lot of people in there not being productive. So we're going to jump in that thing and see how do we, make sure that you take advantage of the value that is here before we start innovating to give you more value. Right? Keith says that he's going to be more consistent with his content creation and the media. Now, Keith, you are a graphic designer, so that media part, you ahead of us on the media part because you are a graphic designer. So yes, I'm gonna tell you, you're also in one of those niche businesses that where what you do can be the marketing for getting more clients for what you do. So the more nice designs you put out there just for your own business, Keith, the more work it can get you. It's almost like, the nail artist, right? If she keep her nails done with some innovative designs, people are going to ask her who does her nails and she can say her. The hairstylist, right? The person that sells the jewelry, that sells the clothes. Always start with you. If you can be an embodiment of your own product or service, start there, because that makes other people want to know. You're a walking billboard. So yes, definitely up your media game, Keith. All right, Teray, which one of these community building consistencies and strategies do you have problems with?
Number one is encouraging member engagement. And just like what you were telling Dr. Latoya, I don't want to build my group if they're not saying anything. I want them to come into a warm group, but if there are crickets in my group, so I don't have a problem with the content. In fact, I'm feeling some kind of way about the content. And this right now, I'm talking about the dating group.
Yes.
Like, so I'm giving good. I'm like, this people would pay for this. This is good stuff. And, I'm getting people to watch it, but nobody is engaging. And I know that people are watching it and it's good information, but nobody's talking about it. I don't have a buzz. I'm not creating a buzz about it. But I don't want to increase the group because nobody's saying anything. And like what you said earlier about the groups, I know that people are funny about joining groups. And I know I'm funny about joining groups because number one, I know people don't like to join groups because there are groups that I won't join, or I stop engaging, or I just quit because they're arguing. Everybody's arguing or complaining, or they feel like they're being fussed at. So it's like, you know what, forget it. Debbie, it's called When Dating Works. So yeah. So but I'm giving good advice. I think the reason why, and I'm going to have to ask them, but I think the reason why people are not engaging is because either they're not dating or they don't want to talk about their dating experiences. I think they're just kind of a fly on the wall. They kind of just want to listen, to see what's going on. But I know for a fact that there are a number of women in my group who are not dating. They're kind of scared to date, but they want the information, but they really don't want to be out there in the dating space. And so they don't want to talk about it. They just want to know about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can't get them to engage.
Well, I will tell you, Teray, as you know, I'm in your group. You have to do more of inviting people to engage, because you put out great content, but you're putting it out in a guru way, which makes them just listen. Right? So you have to invite them to engage. Right? Recently I've started putting up posts just daily. I'll start with a story, not in my group, outside the group, right? I'll just give a story, but I start the story off with a question so that they can have that question in mind when they're reading my story, and then they can comment their answer to the question. Right? So that is, I'm basically baiting them to be engaging. Right? So you can start with asking a question. You can start by putting polls in there. Now, we do know that people don't like telling their personal business. We know that is an obstacle. but everybody knows somebody with a dating problem. So you can always say, do you know anybody? Or do you have a quote unquote friend? You know what I'm saying? So make it a safe space to share. And it doesn't have to be so invasive to them and what's going on with them. Do that. And I think that'll work too. But what we know is also, if you give them a chance to actually commune, like you have some type of event where people can regularly come together, then quite like this morning show, you get to know each other's personalities. And guess what? It feels like an even safer space to say stuff in. You know what I'm saying? So you got to create that safe space. You got to invite them to engage. And I think that that'll work for you, but don't let them not being engaging right now. Don't let them not being engaging right now stop you from inviting more people. Grow the group. Go ahead, because you're putting good information in there. Go ahead and grow it. And as you grow it, start making them be engaging by inviting them to engage. So yeah. So don't stop the growth because they're not engaging it.
Yeah, I was having a weekly Zoom, but they got to the point where people weren't showing up. So I stopped it, but I can start it back up again.
Well, I would also think about something that doesn't need them to show up in the room with me to start off, right? Because that might be more of an ask than you've kind of trained them to do. So maybe it's not the Zoom, maybe it's a live where you have, because you do lives all the time, but you do them as you think of great things. But maybe the live needs to be in the group. And then if they want to be in studio, like we do the morning show, you know, you can invite them to be in studio, but you know, the content is actually for everybody, whether you want to talk back or not. You see what I'm saying? Because people will do that and listen in because you already know they're watching. You know what I'm saying? So you speak to them as though some may be live and watching, but some may be watching the replay. That takes that strain off, that expectation that it's not going to be good unless they're live. You know what I'm saying? That takes it off, and you're consistent with it every week, maybe every 2 weeks, however often you want to be. But you can definitely do it like that. Dr. LaFerris said, encourage them to DM you more. No, don't nobody want. Look, we don't want them to DM.
You know what, Shay? Actually, that's what I had raised my hand, but then put it down as part of what I was going to say. In a sense, is to get some of the questions back there from the people who might be shy, and then on some of her lives or pre-recorded messages. Those are things that are always effective because she can pose it and say, you know, this is a question that has been asked to me by a group member, you know, so they'll still want to still tell her information, even if they don't want to come forth with saying it's me, it's me, it's me. So with that, and I know personally with my group, everybody don't want to talk about what they're not doing to, you know, take care of themselves, but they will say it to me offline. And so then I use those examples, those stories to still share within the group because it's something that somebody else just might need to know and to hear from a peer inside of the group.
Yeah, I've been doing that. I'll actually go live and say, okay, so I get DMs and someone from the group, shout out to one of the ladies in our group who had a question. So I felt like everybody could benefit from this. So let's talk about this topic. And then I'll go on.
Now, with me knowing that you value your freedom more so than most entrepreneurs, Teray, I think I would turn that more into an Ask Teray, where they can just, it's like an online forum where all they're doing is, you know, name, email, and, you know, let me know if you want this to be anonymous and, you know, what is it that is your question or that the subject matter you would like for me to talk about. Make it more of a formal thing so that it's not all in your DMs. Yeah. But that was good, Shawan. Thank you for that. Awesome. Awesome. All right, ladies, do we have any questions or any value adds about either the clarity of going from one type of offer to another that we discussed on yesterday or community that we discussed today? Anybody have any questions or value adds?
I have a question.
What you got?
Well, one, the form I think is a great idea. So that's not a question. That's a comment. I need to figure out how to integrate it because I used to do what I called ask me anything. And I got overwhelmed kind of by, it was like, yeah, send me an email, drop a thing. But I think the formal way of doing that will make it much better for me and make me not feel like I don't want to do it anymore. But my question is, I think part of my disillusionment with the groups became because I had too many groups, right? So each time I did a challenge or I did a particular thing, I created a different group, or there was a program, there was a different group. And so I got overwhelmed by having to manage so many things and essentially feel like I had to be in so many places. So now I'm going to rethink this. I'm going to just focus on the one main group. But my question is, if I have the one main group, and then let's say I have a challenge, right? We're going to do the Healing Ancestral Lineage Challenge.
Yes.
In the past, I would have started another group or reopened the group just for that. Would you, and then now I have to engage those people. Would you still just do everything in the main group, regardless of the topic, and then just people either engage or they don't engage?
So I think that so it's nothing wrong with having one main group and then specialized private groups, right? It's nothing wrong with that. But you have to give the expectation of those specialized private groups that, hey, there's only activity in here when we're actively having this challenge. You see what I'm saying? This is not where I give you just regular information or where you engage with me, you know what I'm saying, the most. That's going to always be the main group. Now, I'll give you an example from my business. I don't even do Facebook groups for challenges and stuff anymore. I used to. But I felt like that was just a lot of work to, create those groups and then do the graphics for the groups and then try to do group rules. And then that was a lot just for a group that was pretty much going to be temporary, right? So now any group that has to do with my workshops, they are on Slack. And I let people know, number one, the expectation is in this group, I'm giving you announcements about, the activity that is active right now, right? And I don't coach in this group. This group is more for you to commune, have peer review and peer support, right? So I set the expectation first. This is another way for you. If you don't check your email, you'll know that it's tonight. You'll have the Zoom link, That's what this is for. I also let them know that the group has an expiration date, right? And then it goes away. And I just take them out of the Slack channel. So all I have to do is put the Slack link as a part of the automated email and people file in. I put them in the correct private group. I send the automations, not automation, I'm sorry. I send the announcements. I encourage them to commune with each other and help each other. And then I remind them that the group is closing. But as you know, all the information about different stuff happens in my main group. So that's you have to have that line of demarcation and you have to know what it is first before you teach them what it is so that they have the right expectation. Does that help any, Dr. Toya?
Yes, thank you. That was very helpful.
Yeah. So you have those groups and you can even archive them when those challenges are not active, right? On Facebook, you can archive them. You can even make the decision that the people from the last challenge can stay in there, right? Because if you're going to sell the same thing at the end of the challenge, and there are probably people in there that didn't buy the last time, so leave them in there. But the only value you're getting is the value of that challenge when that challenge is active. So yeah, cool beans. Dr. LaFera said you can do a chat and do the challenge inside of Zoom. I don't know what that means, Dr. LaFera. You want to come out the mic and give more information on what you're recommending?
Yeah, so you can open up a separate chat for your Facebook group so that like everybody who's talking about a certain topic, they all join that chat. And so you can talk to them separately, like than the whole group. And I don't think that it's as much, Facebook trying not to show those people in the chat what you typed as it is in the group. And then as far as the challenge that I think she said she wanted or somebody did, you could do a Zoom, like everybody in the group, you could start like you do, like what you're doing right now, like start in a group and say, okay, this is the content for everybody who is inside of the group. But then like if they paid or something, you could say, And so if you've paid, you know, for VIP or something like that, if you are in the challenge, we're about to go into the Zoom, and then they go into the Zoom and you could do your challenge and stuff in there and get engagement in there. And then they come back and post whatever they're supposed to be doing the challenge in the group. So the people that are not doing it can see like, oh, I probably should have done that.
Love it. Love it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. LaFera. All right. So announcements before we get out of here. The Amplify Your Revenue with Affiliates workshop has been changed to July 10th. You know how they always say by popular demand. Okay. So go to shaycannon.com/affiliate. Go ahead and sign up for that. I haven't even changed the dates on the sales page yet. That's how fresh that feedback is. The vote for the movie club night ends today. Your vote for next week's Morning Rewind, go ahead and vote for that because that ends on Friday. Debbie, you wanted to add something before we got out of here?
Just really 2 quick lessons that I learned last week. Thank you for responding to my email. I didn't follow up when I didn't hear from you, and I should have followed up and asked you if you got my email. And then I had a snafu with Shawana. She sent me an email weeks ago, but it went into my junk mail, so I never got it. And so it wasn't until she asked me about it, I was like, oh. So I learned I need to check my junk mail, and I need to follow up when I don't hear from somebody that I send an email to. So 2 lessons learned.
No problem. No problem. Did you have something else that you wanted to impart with us? Nope, because you muted yourself back. So I guess you were done. All right, guys.
Just remember that the fortune is in the follow-up.
Yeah,
because you could be missing opportunity. So yeah, what she said, but the fortune is in the follow-up. We miss a lot of opportunities because we just don't circle back.
Love it. Love it.
I rest.
And the person circling back should be the person that's getting the most value out of their follow-up. So there's that. So if you want something, follow up so you can get it is what I'm gonna say. All right, guys, we'll be back tomorrow where we're gonna talk about your main offer. I'm gonna give you a case study on the main offer. We're gonna talk about what to be consistent with and what was the strategy based on that case study. So I'll see you tomorrow. The studio is closing.